Welcome all to the launch of the 29th Annual Saskatchewan Festival Awards. My name is Sarah Grimes and I'm the program coordinator for the festival. Before we begin to announce our 2025 festival lineup, I want to acknowledge that this festival and our offices take place on Treaty 4 territory, which are the traditional lands of the Cree, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. Each year we program with Indigenous literature in mind, and we believe that we not only acknowledge, but engage with our local Indigenous communities. This is both an exciting and terrifying day for us because this has been our lives for almost the entire year. Our first presenter was booked and our last presenter was confirmed last week. We are especially proud of this year's festival lineup and schedule, so we hope you all enjoy.
This is the first announcement and the one I'm most excited for. We all followed months of coverage as Costa Concordia sunk off the coast of Italy. We sat glued to our screens during the search for the Titan submersible, and we looked on in awe as the first images of the sunken wrecks from the Franklin expedition were released. There is something about humanity that has always been enthralled with the danger of the sea and the disasters that can happen. But why? We are hosting a panel on Saturday, July 19th to talk about all things ship and why we are so fascinated by disasters at sea. We will be joined by two special panelists. The first is Ken McGugan, and he is the globe-trotting author of 17 books, among them 6 best-selling histories about Arctic exploration. Ken's book, Searching for Franklin, New Answers to the Great Arctic Mystery, approaches the legacy of 19th century explorer Sir John Franklin from a contemporary perspective and offers new explanations for an enduring northern mystery. It rejects old orthodoxies, incorporates the latest discoveries, and interweaves two main narratives. The first treats the Royal Arctic Overland Expedition of 1819, a harbinger of misadventure during which Franklin rejected the advice of the Dene and Métis leaders and lost 11 of his 21 men to exhaustion, starvation, and murder. The second discovers a startling new answer to that greatest of Arctic mysteries. What was the root cause of the catastrophe that engulfed Franklin's last expedition? Secondly, we will be joined by investigative journalist and author Eve Lazarus, whose newest book, Beneath Dark Waters, The Legacy of the Empress of Ireland Shipwreck, delves into the sinking and aftermath of one of Canada's worst maritime disasters. It draws on a trove of historical documents, including small-town newspaper reports, the wreck's commissioner's inquiry, and first-hand accounts passed down through personal letters and family lore to tell the story of the wreck, its aftermath, through the eyes of Canadian survivors. Going down in history is a panel that will be moderated by massive maritime enthusiasts, me. Join us on July 19th to learn more about maritime history. Tickets are $17 and included in the full student and Saturday passes. I get the delightful treat of talking about our 2025 Great Big Book Club. This has always been one of our most popular events, and we have a real treat this year because we will be discussing Jennifer Whiteford's Make Me a Mixtape. A guarded punk rocker turned barista meets a big-hearted soundtrack who charms his way into her life and helps her revisit her musical past in this charming, cozy fall romance. Allie Andrews gave up on the music world 10 years ago. No wild tours, no late nights, no career-ending interband blow-ups. Just day after comfortable day working in her aunt's cafe in Brooklyn and recording 80s cover songs in her tiny apartment. The last thing she wants or expects is to be recognized by former punk rocker Ali Jetski. But as a last-minute coffee delivery lands her face-to-face with the big, handsome, and quite possibly #1 fan of the Jetskis, Ryan Abernathy. Ryan is about to forget to meeting the lead singer of one of his favorite bands. Undeterred by her prickly demeanor, he sets his mind to helping Allie find her way back to the jet skis so she can come to terms with what happened all those years ago. Allie finds Ryan hard to resist, and her quiet life is turned upside down as she's swept up in the hunt for her old bandmates. But when Aunt Mindy announces she's decided to sell the cafe, Allie is faced with a life-altering choice: play it safe and take over the business, or risk opening yourself up to a future in music, and maybe even love. Great Big Book Club is a 3-hour event on the first day of the festival that consists of a regular book club discussion and followed by an interview and group discussion with Jennifer herself. This event will be moderated by Angie Abdu.
Every year, we are incredibly lucky to host our dedicated youth programming completely free of charge. The festival makes it a necessity to provide barrier-free programming that nurtures youth's love of reading and writing. Aside from reading sessions throughout the festival that will feature our youth authors, we are happy to announce the following youth-based programming. Starting off with our youngest readers, our Storytime for Little Ones will be taking place July 17th. This year, join us in the great outdoors as Carl Subban will be reading to our youngest audience members on the front lawn of the Moose Jaw Public Library. As weather changes, we will move the event inside if needed. Readings begin at 10 a.m. and will feature his beloved children's book, The Hockey Skates, which tells the story of how NHL star PK Subban received his very first ever pair of hockey skates. Next up, we are working with local Saskatchewan author Christy Jackson, who will be running our Kids Inc. on Thursday, July 17th from 9 to 11 a.m. This workshop is best suited for writers ages 10 to 13. Join author Christy Jackson to hear the inside story behind all the embarrassing moments of her middle grade novel, Mortified, and learn if in fact they are true. Hear about what it's like to get her first book published, the importance of determination, and learn Christy's writing secrets. Christy will guide workshop participants in writing their very own pitch sentence, which is the first step she always takes when writing a novel. This workshop will be filled with fun, writing practices, and prizes. Alongside these prizes, each audience member will also receive a free copy of Christy's book, Mortified. While this is a free workshop, registration is required and spots are limited. Registration for this program will be on our website and will open the same day as tickets go on sale. And finally, for writers ages 14 to 18, in partnership with Sage Hill Writing Experience, we are hosting the online leg of the Teen Writing Experience from July 14th to 18th. Award-winning YA author Shane Arbuthnot is returning again to run this week-long workshop, which ends with a special live reading during the festival. We are also excited to announce that Emily Austin is this year's guest speaker for Tweed. She will join the class to give the writers tips of the trade and answer all their questions. Interested teens can head to sagehillwriting.ca to learn more about this program and when to register. We are so happy that Sage Hills continue to work with us for this week-long program. Every year our class fills up and students continue to keep in touch afterwards, which is so great to hear and to know that the future of CanLit are already building communities with each other. As our audience knows, we like to end the festival with a bang, and this year is no different. Every Sunday, we send off our audience with a delicious breakfast and 2 phenomenal panels. The following event is one of the 2 panels that we will be hosting as part of our festival send-off. This year, the festival will be closing out with an exciting panel that focuses on how authors use monsters to delve into darker subject matter. Monsters have always found their home in the shadows, but what can we learn by bringing them to the light? Confront the dark and monsters within alongside the following expert panelists. The first is KJ Aiello. They are an award-winning author and writer of The Monster in the Mirror, a unique blend of memoir, research, and cultural criticism. The Monster in the Mirror charts Aiello's life as they try to understand their own mental illness using Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, and other stories as both guides to heroism and agency and cautionary tales of how mental illness is easily stereotyped as bad and violent. Next on this monstrous panel is debut novelist Brandon Reed. His debut novel, Beautiful, Beautiful, is a coming-of-age story unlike any other. Exploring both Indigenous and Western life in the hopes of reaching equilibrium, Beautiful, Beautiful takes a protagonist and audience on a journey featuring primordial visions, friendly cannibals, and a shape-shifting narrator. And finishing off this phenomenal lineup is John Elizabeth Stinson. John Elizabeth Stinson is an award-winning writer, cartoonist, and editor who grew up in a cattle farm on the northwest of Ontario. Their latest short story collection, Bad Houses, is chock full of absurdities and electrifyingly dark tales. In each story, the characters and the audience are forced to confront the oddities of life and question what it means to be haunted. So join us on Sunday, July 20th at the Cosmo Center in the dark and the light for our panel, The Monster Within. This event is part of our Sunday Breakfast and Panels event, which is $35 and included in our full festival pass. Keep watching to learn more about the event and our other Sunday panel.
During the years of 2020 and 2021, we were all isolating, or mostly isolating, from a pandemic. It was a very odd time for those of us making a living in event planning and entertaining. We were all trying to figure out what this new world would look like and continue even if we couldn't meet together in person. During that time, we had an opportunity, thanks to Canadian Heritage, to bring musicians across the country to host a series of shows in order to entice people back to theaters and pay musicians. We brought in 4 acts who essentially played to an almost empty theater and nameless attendees online. So we are so excited to be able to bring back one of those acts to the festival this year, and we need you to help us pack the house. A natural-born vocalist, soul singer, and songwriter, Clarel nurtured his taste for melody in his coastal hometown of Douala, Cameroon, where he grew up listening to music from his parents' record collection, which ranged from church hymns and Afrobeat to French chanson. As a child, he developed a habit of listening to his favorite songs to himself as a way to listen to them whenever he desired, an exercise that helped hone his signature smooth tone. While he spent most of 2020 working on a new collection of songs, Clarel has also appeared on reality TV show La Voix, The Voice Canada, and earlier in the summer, he took part in the Montreal Jazz Festival, where he gave a highly acclaimed performance of his original music in front of an audience of over 3,000 spectators. Listeners around the world continue to fall in love with the young musician's soulful universe. Join us Saturday, July 19th to show Clarel and his band that we are proud supporters of the arts in Moose Jaw. Tickets are $50 and included in the full student and Saturday passes. Many editors and publishers over the years have asked Guy Vanderheg for his thoughts on books and writers, on history, literature, and his own specialty, the historical novel. Because Someone Asked Me To has all of the hallmarks of the author's fiction. It is intelligent, wise, wry, and a pleasure to read. These essays, reviews, and occasional pieces are about the difficult craft of fiction, about growing up on the prairies, and about the struggle to find his own voice as a writer, and as well as about novels he deeply admires. And throughout, he cast a bemused eye on the entire human comedy. In 1982, when Guy Vanderheg's book first appeared, Canadian literature was beginning to be recognized at home and abroad as a culturally engaging and significant. Because Somebody Asked Me To gives readers a glimpse into those beginnings and how they shaped the author and his generation of fiction writers. The book also examines how the Canadian literary scene has shifted during the course of his career, the economic, societal, and cultural changes that have made the old world of writing and publishing scarcely recognizable. Because Someone Asked Me To invites readers to ponder the transformations Canadian writing has undergone, where it is now, and where it might go from here. So we are so happy to have fan favorite Guy Vanderhaeg back for a special interview to talk about his life, his work, and his newest book with moderator Angie Abdu. Join us at the Mae Wilson Theatre on Friday, July 18th at 4 p.m. Tickets are $17 and included in the full student and Friday passes.
This year, we are proud to announce that, for the first time ever, we are joining forces with the Canadian poetry movement Death Rides a Unicorn for a poetry feature. Death Rides a Unicorn is a literary and spoken word organization that stems from a want of humorous literary and spoken word events. After the last couple pandemic tragic years in which everyone has lost something, someone, or everything, the organizers feel that it is a necessity to share humor and joy in an original format. They prioritize marginalized voices and with the attention to share stories, songs, and poems. They are old-fashioned and romantic that love new shapes and forms. And this year they are joining us to present the Moose Jaw edition of Famous Last Words. Famous Last Words is Death Rides a Unicorn's flagship show. It involves poets taking part in a faux competition where they can create new work to compete in a series of unrelated events that are in turn judged by the judge and the audience. These games include poems written in unusual form, on silly themes, or with funny addendums, such as a poem written by the perspective of a puppet must be read with said puppet. With producer Sean McGarrigle and host R.C. Wieslowski, join in on the fun as they will be putting prairie poets Kat Adenstein, Peace Akintade, Cody Dill, and Dash Reimer through the poetic test on July 18th at the Mae Wilson Theatre. And of course, no Death Rides a Unicorn event is complete without its very own unicorn. Ticket price is pay what you will, and this is one event you will not want to miss. Also taking place on Sunday is another panel that we are so excited to announce. I know we keep saying how excited we are, but it's true. Each year is completely different, and so announcing events never gets old. The festival staff has been waiting for this opportunity for years and jumped at the chance to bring it to life, and we hope our audience is just as excited as we are. Why do we love romance? What makes a romance novel different from a novel with romance? And how are readers' expectations of romance changing? With romance's steep rise in popularity in the past few years, we wanted to get on the love fest. Is it a trope that is so commonly found in reading even outside its own dedicated genre? We were curious to know what authors think about the prevalence and how it has evolved. Each of these authors have intentionally woven love into their stories in a variety of ways. And this is why we are happy to announce the Love Languages panel. Starting off with a familiar name, Jennifer Whiteford will be joining in the conversation. I know Amanda has already introduced Jennifer in her debut novel Making a Mixtape, but allow me to refresh your memory. Main character Allie Andrews has all but given up on rekindling her love for writing songs until a tall, handsome stranger gives her the space to try again and make up for old mistakes. Jennifer Whiteford's Make Me a Mixtape is a sweet treat that reminds audiences to never give up on your dreams or love, no matter how long it takes. Next up is an old festival favorite, Terry Fallis. With so many humorous books under his belt, Terry's latest novel, A New Season, is a foray into romance that will make your heart melt. Endearing and musical, A New Season follows Jack McMaster as he lives with loss and finds deeper meaning in relationships old and new. With a trip to the city of light and love, there is no telling what one can find when they have an open heart. And finally, our final romantic expert is none other than Hudson Lynn. Lynn is an author of multiple queer romance novels that all prove that love can conquer all. Her latest and upcoming novel, Dragon Boats and Doctor's Notes, is no different. This novel poses a question all too relevant to the challenge of balancing work and life with someone's personal life. Dragon boats and doctor's notes will be sure to have you fighting for love no matter the obstacle. As I mentioned earlier, this is part of our Sunday and breakfast panels. It will be moderated by Angie Abdu and is part of the $35 ticket price and is held at the Cosmos Center, included in our full festival pass. Each year we start off the festival with a series of workshops that cover different topics and aspects of the writing process. Authors send us a myriad of ideas that with the help of our program team, we narrow them down to the following list of workshops we hope will whet the appetite of our audience for the rest of the festival. The first workshop on our list is a fiction workshop with the literary powerhouse Richard Van Camp. Please join best-selling author Richard Van Camp as he shares what he's learned in his 30 years of being a full-time author. In this hilarious and empowering workshop, Richard will share how to design your characters and he'll explain why we need conflict in our stories. He will also answer questions about working with publishers, editors, agents, and collaborators like artists and colorists, and how to market yourself to help promote your work. Our next workshop is Make 'em Laugh, a humor workshop with national humor hero Terry Fallis. Award-winning novelist Terry Fallis will lead a workshop on humor writing covering a range of topics including why writing funny is hard, how to transfer humor to the page, humor techniques, and the importance of timing and judgment, and accepting that not every reader will get you, and who to read if you want to learn and laugh. And speaking of laughs, we may have a few along the way. And to end off our workshop lineup, we have Iona Wishaw, who will be expertly teaching all the ins and outs of historical writing, joys and pitfalls. And it will go over how to navigate the research, the facts, the probabilities, the language, and politics, and the oh-so-helpful letters from the public, and still write a good story. If any or all of these workshops interest you, then don't forget to register ahead of time. Workshops are $30 each and are not included in any of our passes. They also tend to sell out, so run, don't walk to confirm your spot.
We have a special treat for our Thursday night film slot this year. We are bringing in 2 short films based on work by legendary writer Richard Van Camp. After the films, we will have the opportunity to hear about adapting work from book to screen in a special interview with Richard himself, moderated by Angie Abdu. The first film is called Inquo for When the Starving Return. 2 lifetimes from now, the world hangs in the balance. Dove, a young, gender-shifting warrior, discovers the gifts and burdens of their Inquo, or medicine, to defend against an army of hungry, ferocious monsters. Dove's courage, resilience, and alliance with the earth culminates in a battle against these flesh-consuming creatures who become stronger with each body and soul they devour. Inquo, When the Starving Return, is a call to action to fight and protect against the forces of greed around us. Secondly, we will be showing Three Feathers, a short film about Flinch, Bryce, and Rupert, who have been sent by their elders to live 9 months on the land. There the young men learn to take responsibility for their actions, acquire humility to return home. Tickets are $13 and included in the full and student passes. for joining us this evening for the launch of our 2025 festival program. There's a lot that goes into festival planning each year. We're so happy you would take the time out of your day to hear what we have coming. Full details for the program will be up on our website at festivalofwords.com, and tickets are going on sale tomorrow at 10 a.m. We are sticking around a bit to talk more about how we plan the festival and answering any burning questions you may have. So please stick around and see you soon.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the launch. I hope you're excited about what we have coming.
I know we are.
We're so excited. Before we get into the Q&A, if you have any questions, put them into the chat. We're so happy to answer them. But 2 corrections you may have saw in the subtitles. We were literally working on this video today. So that's why information has changed since we recorded it. Tickets for the workshops are $35, not $30. And tickets go on sale tomorrow at noon, not 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So just to clear that up, sorry about that. But yeah, we're so excited to launch the program, and what would you say is your favorite, like you're most excited for?
Well, I think I mentioned it in the recording, but I'm really, really excited for the Darkness and Monster panel. It's something that I've taken, a lot of my university classes were about that, and I love monsters. I'm a huge fan of like Dracula and all that stuff. So, and KJ's book blew my mind with some of the things that they talked about. So I'm extremely excited. Now, I know what event you're most excited for.
Yes, the shipwreck panel has been a not so secret dream of mine for a number of years. If you have noticed an increase of books about boats or the ocean, that was me just trying to slowly get to this point. It's the maritime history and the ocean are huge passions of mine. And I think it's really cool that we have 2 books talking about major disasters and that have Canadian connections, which is really exciting to me. And they're both written in very different ways. Like Eve Lazarus comes from a true crime background, so it's really into the story and like drawing you in. And Franklin is really about the history of the man Franklin, but it also goes into details about his wife and like the after effects of the disaster that happened, which is also really fascinating to me. So really excited to be able to host that.
I remember sitting in that meeting with our program team, and it got to the point we were talking about who should moderate, and everyone just kind of slowly turned to Amanda.
Yeah, and so I think we have a really great program this year. It's hard for us, I think, to feel that this is real. So as we were saying earlier, I looked it up. The first person that we booked for the festival was in May 2024. So before last festival, that's when we start our current festival, and the amount of planning that goes into it is just so much.
Like, it's crazy to think that we were meeting with publishers all the way back in September, and it's so weird going from just talking about books where it's still like so amorphous and in the air to being like, oh no, this person's gonna be reading with that person in this room at that time, and it's gonna cost this much, and we're gonna do all this stuff for it. It's surreal.
It is, and I think as well, it's kind of tricky to come. We have 50 events over the festival, and trying to do a balanced schedule out of that is really hard. And for us in the office, it's as simple as, do we print out little sheets of paper with people's names on it, and we stick it to a board and
we
move it around.
And you're like, okay, let's pick someone and just start.
Yeah, and you try to come up with themes together, and sometimes you have really cool themes together, and then sometimes you end up with pairings that you're like, I don't know that they go together, but they kind of need to go together to fit into the schedule. And then usually people come up to us during the festival and say, how did you think of that connection? That was so amazing. And you're like, I don't know.
At that point, all credit
out to the presenters and
Yeah,
the authors who are
yeah.
always so great to work with. Like already, I've been doing back and forth emails with them about the reading sessions, and
Yeah.
a lot of them are really excited for their pairings.
Yeah, so we give that information to the authors, and we let them decide. Kind of, we say, you can do whatever you want in your reading session. It's free reign. We would prefer if they're different every time, so that people can see you multiple times and have a different experience. And then sometimes they work directly with the people that they're paired with and come up with cool things. Sometimes cool things just happen, and it's just really awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really excited. I mean, we say this every year. We're always really excited, and that's the crazy thing, is that because every year it's different lineup, it never feels repetitive.
Mm-hmm. And so this is going to be a good one. And then next year is our 30th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, we've already started thinking about it. We
already have someone booked for it.
We already have someone booked for our 30th anniversary. So that's, once again, how far in advance that we're planning, which is, I don't even want to think that far ahead.
Yep.
But
yes. Tickets are on sale noon CST.
Well, it's CST Saskatchewan time, because we actually standard time.
Yeah,
but because we match up with Mountain.
Yeah,
is if you're not aware of weird Saskatchewan time zone.
All thanks to daylight savings.
Yes, we do not follow daylight savings. But if no one else has any other questions, then we'll leave it with you right now, and have a good night.
Yeah.